Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another very special episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad. Ow.
You ended it differently because you've used that one before.
I have? Well, I just came back from Texas, so I was thinking like a horse.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm good with it, man.
Yeah. Does it work?
Yeah, because the ending was different.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep people on their toes, bro.
Right?
Like, come on.
Change
Can't be
it up.
boring.
Right.
Good to see
Stagnant.
you, man.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Have that manly beard going on
Yeah, thank you.
for a change. Something manly.
Are we going to start like this time, huh? Not end like it?
Yeah, exactly. So fam, what's up? Welcome back. We were gone for a couple of weeks. We want to talk today about the value of paying it forward, right? Like I feel like having sometimes life gives us the opportunity to plant seeds, and it doesn't matter in what space we're in. There's always going to be somebody else around us that might benefit from a little positivity, right? From a little good thought and good vibes that are sent their way. And I mean that's one of the things that we just kind of want to unwrap here on this convo today. I just came back from Texas, and I had a presentation, spoke on stage, and I was blessed to have a bunch of my students show up. So they flew in from all over the place. I mean, that was super cool, super cool thing to be a part of, and just know that people will travel, right, to based on advice and trust and that sort of thing. So I had a bunch of people there, students. And one of my partners was there too as well, and the collective, man, like the entire vibe was really, really cool. It was very, it didn't hit me until after the event, but it was about really paying it forward, right? Planting seeds, because the conversation kept coming up, like, thank you for the inspiration, and it's really good that you're planting these kind of opportunities in front of us and that sort of thing. And on the flight back, really, really interesting. On the flight back, I was thinking about that. I mean, I was doing just a debrief of the entire thing, and it hit me, right? Like the gratitude that I'm able to be a part of right now. And I started thinking about how I got started. When I landed, I had a message from my OG mentor, Sean Terry. Big shout out to Sean Terry. But he's the guy that planted those seeds, right? And like when I was getting started, he's the first person that put me on stage and kind of gave me the opportunity to voice, my thoughts and get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was like a full circle type of deal, because he was congratulating me on a post that he saw from the event. And, we were talking, a little bit back and forth, and I was saying thank you to him. And then I was going back and forth between his message and conversation and some of the messages that I was still catching from the students, right? And in my head, I'm not doing anything more than paying it forward. And it's a beautiful thing how things unravel. Like, you just never know how a conversation with somebody, how an opportunity with somebody is going to turn into something bigger. Right now, right, like I have students that are going through this process. I don't know when they're going to, maybe they're going to be on stage someday, and then they're going to have the ripple effects on other people. But it's that process, I think, that keeps, feeding the entire world in one way or another.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, that forward moving momentum. Yeah. And it starts with someone, and it's like, I think most people are afraid to express, their unique gifts and talents and so forth.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times that mentor can spark that within you and bring those gifts to the surface, and you can express them, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, the thing about it is, and I think you can relate, is like, it's something that the mentor said, or something that you experienced with them that really helped you bring those out into the open. Yeah. And then, but a lot of people don't express their gratitude for what that was that helped them shift. And it's like, 9 times out of 10, when you give that gratitude, the person's like, I said that? Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Like, because to them, it wasn't something that was, earth-shattering or monumental. It's just what they do. But it resonated with the person in such a way that, had those gifts come to life. And it feels really good, if you're the one causing that, to know what worked.
Yeah.
But then the other side of that is like, you never know what's going to land with people. Do you know what I mean? So it's cool to see that come full circle, and that's a beautiful experience for you to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it was a great thing. I feel like, again, I feel blessed, right? That I was, able to recognize it, and take it for what it is. It's like it's a forward pushing momentum. Another thing that it does too is I think when we, and I'll speak for myself on this as I always do, but when I'm thinking of paying something forward, it forces me to hold that space.
In what way?
It forces me, whatever that space is, right? If it's, for example, if it's a space of accountability, if it's a space of giving back, if it's a space of contribution, if it's a space of, I don't know, teaching somebody else something else, I have to hold that space. I have to own that space first before I can, pay anything forward, right? So, so one of the things that I think a lot of us struggle with is having a natural sense of accountability, and just setting myself up in a way that, okay, I'm going to pay this forward somehow, some way. I know that what I'm doing is going to contribute to something bigger. By default, just puts me in a place where I have to own and take ownership of whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever that space is. For example, if we talk about mentorship and we talk about coaching, right? We talk about strategies and tactics and systems and processes. It's hard to keep accountability when you're at the top of that company and you have nobody to be accountable to.
Yeah, that's a real struggle
it's
sometimes.
Okay, cool. I mean, everybody has to be accountable to you, right? But the reverse is not necessarily the same.
Yeah, the coach needs coaching.
Yeah, exactly. So, however, if I'm thinking about, paying it forward or planting seeds or doing, I have to hold that space for myself. Why? Because I know that, okay, there's going to be something else that ripples from this.
Yeah, totally.
It really falls back onto that entire process of paying it forward, being part of contribution, being grateful, right? It's not just an outward thing. I think it's also a lot of inner work that happens as we're going through that 100%. Process.
Well, because, have you ever gotten a piece of advice from someone, but you just felt like they really didn't understand what they were talking about?
Yeah.
That's the difference between someone that gives information because they memorize the thing and they understand the philosophy versus someone that's taken the philosophy, incorporated it, implemented it, and they've had an experience, a new experience with a result attached to that. And that's that holding the space. I know what I'm talking about. I have an experience of this, and this is why I'm sharing it with you, because the impact I know it's going to make. And you can speak much more eloquently and articulated to the depth of the importance of the event and how to go about it because you've experienced it. Without that experience, you wouldn't have that context.
Yeah. What are some, I don't know, give me some examples of something that triggered a ripple effect that, that you weren't expecting that happened as a result of you paying it forward or just showing gratitude?
Oh man, I mean, gosh, there's lots of them, but I'm trying to think of something profound at the moment. But it's okay, so there's been times there's this person I was coaching, and they couldn't afford coaching, so I did an exchange of value. It wasn't monetary, and I said, you do this, and I'll continue to give you a couple sessions until this date, yada yada. Because I just really enjoyed coaching the dude. And so I gave him those sessions, and he connected me with someone, and that led to a new opportunity. And it's you never know what's going to come of it. Yeah. But so regardless of the content of that, paying it forward, look, what you put out comes back, period. And I remember there was one thing, this was, years ago. And I was kind of broke at the moment. And a buddy's like, right now, go to an ATM, pull out a $20 bill, and give it to the first homeless person you see. And I'm like, bro, that's all that's in my account is $20. He's like, good, give it away. And I'm like, are you hearing yourself? I need gas. And what?
Yeah.
But I did it. And I gave it to a homeless guy. And you know what? It felt good. It's it was causal in breaking my addiction to money. Too, because to give what you don't have type situation, you know what I mean? It was my last $20, and I swear, within a very short amount of time, opportunities kept coming to me, deals, and I made so much money in a short amount of time by just changing my energy around it. And it wouldn't have been without that guy telling me to do this. He was kind of like a mentor to me, and so I've used that with other people before that are just super broke, and whatever cash you have on you right now, how much you got? Oh, $15, cool. Give it away to the next person you see. It doesn't, no strings attached. It's unconditional. You're not expecting anything in return. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as going to Starbucks in the drive-thru. and pay for your drink and put an extra $6, pay the car behind you. You know what I mean? Like, you never feel shitty about giving something away.
I do
you
that
know what I mean?
Every time I go to Starbucks on drive-through.
Yeah.
I do that just for the sake of giving the person behind me a smile. I don't know who they are. And they're like, can you get? I don't even ask, what the tab is on the car behind me. And sometimes I get surprised, but it's like, oh shit, is there like 10 people in that car?
Yeah, like, I'm just kidding.
But it's about that, right? It's about giving away, giving something away unconditionally, and really like putting that energy out there, because I think, when we put that energy out there, it's gonna find us back, and it finds us back in beautiful, ways when we least expect it. It really does.
Totally. But real important, I think, for people to understand is the key there, as you said, is unconditional. There's no string attached. Yeah. Even the fact that, okay, well, I need something, so let me give it away so it comes back to me. Yeah. No, that's an attachment. Yeah. It's truly 100% unconditional, meaning I have no expectations whatsoever. I'm only doing this to hopefully brighten someone's day. Yeah. Like there's this dude on, I think it's TikTok or Instagram. I forget his name. My honey showed it to me one day, and I just kind of see the guy, although I'm not on TikTok. But anyways, he goes just to random people, and like he walked into this fast food restaurant, and he's like, hey, what's the cheapest thing you got on your menu? And she's like, it's $2.67. He's like, I only got $1. And the chick's like, don't worry about it, I got you covered. He's like, really? Why would you do that? And she's like, because I've been there. I understand. And you're hungry. You need to eat. And so, so he's like, never mind. I'm just kidding. I don't need the food. And here's your money back. And by the way, here's $1,000. Yeah. It's like, she's like, what? No, I can't accept this. He's like, of course you can. Why wouldn't you? And obviously the lady needed it, and every time he makes a video, that person really needs it, which is super cool too, because how come he's drawn to people that need it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could find someone that's wealthy and just doesn't appear to be wealthy. Yeah. Give him $1,000 and like, meh. But even some people, the recipients of that money, they're like, no. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have enough. This doesn't happen very often. Yeah. Give it to somebody that really needs it. And it's like, man, it's just so cool that guy's doing this. You know what I mean? Yeah, pay it forward. There's so much wrong in the world and so much pain and suffering. Like, why not be the cause of a little more heaven on earth? Because you can. With the simplest, most random act of kindness. I mean, Mother's Day. Go buy a dozen roses and just hand one out to a lady. You know what I mean? What's the odds that she's a mother? Probably pretty good. Or she's got a mother that she can give it to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you always feel so great when you give stuff away unconditionally. There's no strings attached. And it reminds me of a quote. Givers gain. Unless they want to. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the unconditional piece. So you got to put it out there, man, because the world can use it, and you have the ability to do so. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's easy to oversee it too. It's easy to just, maybe think that we don't have enough value, to spark somebody's, day, right? Or change somebody's mood into a positive, because I've seen that too. Like, no, I feel like when you do something good for somebody else, even if you're not in that emotional space, it always feels good. Yeah. I've been doing the Starbucks thing for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, okay. 2 years. And I don't go every single day to Starbucks. Maybe I'll go once a week or twice a week, right? But every time I go, I still do that. And I've remembered times where I'm in shitty mood. Like, it's just like, okay, I'm not feeling giving right now. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Something happened. I don't know. We're dealing with, weird escrow, so you name it, right? And because it's something that I've done, it's a way of just kind of, planting a seed. And that's how I see a lot of things, right? Planting seeds. We're not going to see them grow right before our eyes, but you're going to plant a seed and that might turn into something else. Yep. I still do it. And I've done it. And when I walk away, when I drive away from it, like it's always a good feeling. And it usually overrides the shitty moment that I'm having. Totally. Well, I mean, how do you brighten someone's day and still feel shitty, right? Yeah. And so it just goes to show it's the littlest act. And a lot of people, I think, operate with, the mentality of, well, when I have enough money, then I'll give some away. It's like, that's probably why you don't have enough money to give away. Yeah. You know what I mean? And who says it has to be money? Yeah. What if you donate your time? A compliment, a smile. Yeah. It's just some small, random act of kindness.
That's all it is. Yeah. Yeah. And paying it forward, it's not. It doesn't have to be a financial thing. It can be an emotional thing. You can pay a smile forward, and be conscientious about it a little bit more, right? Like you said, there's so many things that happen on the day to day. It's so easy to fall into this dark space of victimhood and the stuff that we're not a lot of things can be controlled, right? I mean, you're gonna have economy hit, you're gonna hit a lot of that stuff. However, we can absolutely control how we perceive anything that we come across. We can make an intention behind wanting to shift their mood, to into a better place. When that happens, the people around you shift their mood.
100%.
It's contagious.
Think about it. So actually, I think what you're saying, though, is like, okay, if I'm in a shitty mood and I go do a random act of kindness for a complete stranger with no expectations, is unconditional, I feel better. So isn't that a strategy of self-care?
Yeah.
Like, you have the ability to respond to your own personal state.
Yeah.
And if it's subpar, now you know what to do to change it around.
Yeah.
Go do something nice for someone else. You're going to shift your state. And then guess what? Not only are you doing better, but so is that person.
Yeah.
And now there's two of you that are in elevated energy. And our energy is always influencing other people's energy because we're more energy than we are matter. And so it's like, if you want to see a little more heaven on earth and less hell, then be part of the solution. And it begins with I.
Be part of the heaven, yeah.
So it's like, if I'm in a bad state, let me go change my entire environment by being responsible and changing my state. And giving is an excellent way of doing that. And now there's two of you that are in an elevated state. Yeah. And now you get to take that state throughout the rest of your day and you're influencing everybody else's state with it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's the key, and it just begins with one person.
Yeah. This one thing I just want to highlight too, like this goes a little bit beyond gratitude. Gratitude is one thing. It's very internal. It's a self. It's a conversation with the self and your maker, right? And I think like putting that into motion is the paying it forward part.
Absolutely.
That's when you can plant gratitude into somebody else, and it's not even that that difficult, man. A compliment, goes a long way.
I heard this story. This lady was at a grocery store, and she had some little kids with her, and this woman could tell that the lady with the kids was super stressed out and just whatever. And she, basically looked at her as she was checking out, and she said something nice to her about her hair and whatever and how well she's managing herself, something to that effect. Yeah. And the lady said, "You have no idea how much that means to me." She said, "I made a deal with my husband. We moved here from another state like a month ago. Yeah. And I said, if I don't see something good in my reality today, we're moving back to where we came from because she's experienced nothing but hell while being where she was." And she said, "You're that. You just gave that to me. You were the thing. Yeah. Yep, you're the omen to tell me we're in the right spot and keep going forward." And it's like, you don't know what's going to completely change somebody's entire life. You have no idea. So just go start authentically giving it. Now, the paying it forward piece, like, I had so much things to say on that. I believe that, like, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I think we've all been given a lot, right? Like, if you're still breathing, I don't care if you're sick and in a wheelchair, you're still alive, you have something to give. Yeah? So to whom much is given, it's debatable and subjective on how much is, much has been given, but we all have something to give. Again, it doesn't even have to be money.
There's always a way to make an impact around you, right? Either in a positive or a negative way, but we can be intentional about making positive impacts. Around us. And like one of the things that gets me, man, it's so cool to just kind of go back and pull the thread of ripple effects. Like, oh shit, this happened because of this, and then this happened because of this. I met that person at that event and had that conversation, which led to this, and that. Yeah. And then you go back to this very one simple, moment in your life. Like that's the thing that just kind of, spinned everything, and now we're in this space. Yeah,
it's like you can only connect the dots looking back.
Yeah,
and the origin of a thing was seemingly insignificant. Yeah, but it made all the difference in the world. And it's just like, why not give? Give of your time, give of your information, give of like just care and compassion for humanity. Like, I believe we're all connected anyways. Yeah. So how you treat others is a reflection on how you treat yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that dawned on me over the weekend. I mean, I was just feeling super grateful. Again, the event was great. I mean, we had a lot of connections. It was very productive and all that stuff. But I feel like the biggest impact for me this weekend was on that side of just realizing that, all the ripple effects that are happening because of, I paid forward, something that it just became a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, it's, ask yourself a question, right? If you're listening or watching us on YouTube, ask yourself the question, what's the easiest way to pay something forward? What's the easiest way to put a smile on somebody's face? I get it. As entrepreneurs, a lot of times we're just kind of, in our own little, world and not a lot going on, in terms of positivity. Why? Because we're stuck in our own bullshit. But it doesn't mean that, we can brighten somebody else's, day, right?
Dude, yeah, I tell you what, one of my offices, whenever I get there, it's early in the morning, and usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the janitor lady's cleaning the bathroom. Like, it's just a timing thing.
Yeah.
I run into her, and she doesn't speak a lot of English, but every time I see her, I smile at her and I say hi.
Yeah.
And man, she just lights up when she sees me now. And it's like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people, especially some entrepreneurs, think like, oh, I'm up here and people are below me. It's like, boy, you can get knocked down and be a janitor in a blink of an eye. You know what I mean? Like, no one's beneath you, and no one's above you. So it's like, why not just be kind to people? So like, whenever I'm out doing anything and I see a janitor or someone that has a, what people would consider a low-class job, man, give them some love, because that could be you. And if you're not doing that job and you're doing something you enjoy, like, you're blessed. So like, everybody deserves a little bit of kindness, love, care, compassion. So everybody has that to give as well.
Yeah, and I mean, when my grandfather, he passed in early 2000s. I think it was 2001, and he was a laborer. So he lived in Mexico. He would build houses. He was a laborer. He would know how to build a house from the ground up and all that stuff. But that doesn't pay a lot. Like, it's like,
it's hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of these guys working in those, like, in Mexico that way, they don't they have cars. They don't have that guy. I mean, he was so amazing in so many different ways. I mean, I would ask him questions. Super strict, the whole Mexican macho, demeanor
machismo,
and mindset, and machismo thing. Yeah. He was very
you're
much
Mexican.
Yeah. I'm working on a beard like yours. And so he had that that thing going on. Very, it's cultural, especially back then, right? And you would see him, right? And it's like, okay, the laborer. And then I would ask him questions about, I remember one time this is an interesting memory, it's just coming back. But I remember one time I walked into my grandparents' house, and he was sitting on his couch watching TV. And I looked over, and he was looking at a jumbo jet. It was on the news. And I couldn't have been, I don't know, maybe I was like 9 or 10 years old, or, somewhere around there. And I asked him the question, without any, I never thought I was going to get an answer, right? It's like, Tata, I was like, those things are huge. Like, I wonder how they fly. Do you know how they fly? And I just asked him, but I never thought I was going to get an answer. And he sits back, like, with a straight face, like he had a mean face, like he was always pissed off. and he goes, I'm assuming it has to, there's got to be something to do with the heat and the temperature of the air, because when you heat it up, it gets lighter, so it goes under. Like, he gave me this big explanation on how jet engines work. I don't know if that's how they work, but if they don't, fuck, man, they should work that way.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense, and I was like, holy shit, my grandpa's got it going on, And the point I'm trying to make here is, like, we may see, I don't know, they may be, going through a rough patch, or they may be, whatever, but you don't know what the unveiling talent is. And you get surprised if you open up, right? If you open up to have conversations, if you open up to, to put, smiles on people's faces, and like, leave all fucking, stigmas and ideas aside and just be a good human. Like, it doesn't take that much to be a good human. You'll get surprised. I guarantee you'll get surprised.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because, well, first of all, like, that's people judging a book by its cover. And you have no idea who that person is, what they know, what they're capable of, like how beautiful their lives might be. Yeah. And it's just all this prejudgment, prejudiced. But you're a great person to talk about this piece because I know every time like we go to Mexico together, man, this dude, like everyone's his cousin.
Are you gonna talk about how I eat every single taco stand?
No, they don't. Oh, Jesus, I don't know where he puts it. So no, but seriously, like no matter who we run into, that's a worker there at the resort. Like they could be mopping the floor, they could be doing anything, and this guy just starts talking with them like long lost cousins, and you should see like their faces like light up. Like first of all, there's someone speaking Spanish to them, because there's a bunch of Americans that don't speak Spanish. But just your presence, your beingness, you know what I mean? Like you're talking to them like they're somebody that matters because they do. They do. Absolutely. They do matter. And then, lo and behold, we get a bunch of free shit. No.
That's a reciprocity piece of paying it forward.
Though, right? Well, it goes back to the law of compensation. Yeah. You earn compensation, not money, compensation, in direct ratio to the value you provide to humanity. Like the value you provide people is just a simple human connection that everyone's capable of, yet so few people do. So I commend you for that, man.
Thank you.
It's admirable.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. Interesting combo. I mean, that was kind of idling in my mind over the last couple of days. I was like, makes sense.
It's a great topic, man. I think, more people are just, many aren't taught this stuff, weren't raised that way. But at the end of the day, we can all be good human beings.
I think it is. It's easy to forget about, gratitude is one of the things that we now see as okay, be grateful, gratitude. It's always been, it's written in the Bible. It's everywhere, right? But I don't think the concept of paying it forward is as voiced as gratitude is.
Well, if you're consumed by your own problems and your own stressors, like that becomes the only object of your consciousness. It's something you can pay attention to, and it's like paying it forward is a great way to break that state, and so you feel better, so that you can attract more that's already available. Yeah. And man, the world needs it. We need more connection.
Creating good vibes, bro.
Yeah, totally.
It's creating good vibes.
So
beautiful. Awesome, dude. Where can somebody get a hold of you if they want to reach out? Continue the combo.
Yeah, JustinThorstad.com, social media, Facebook, Instagram, my YouTube channel, and my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Bam. All right, fam. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. Again, Mindset Mondays. It's really about what's going on, and with us at the time. So if you guys have topics that you want to discuss, you want us to break those down. It's a two-way conversation. Drop it in the comments. We'd be happy to work on that stuff as well. And I mean, we've had some people actually come in and sit down with us for a chat and a podcast. So that's always
be brave and be bold. Come on,
be brave and be bold. Let's get it.
Step on in. The water's nice.
Yeah. With that being said, we're gonna call it a day. Stay focused. You got this. Cling cling.